Hey, it's Dan, the real estate guy, coming to you from the home office, and today's topic is just a little bit off real estate, but it's important. A lot of people ask me or want to know why it is that I've done what I've done, and I'm not a big shot, but I've done well. And as I mentioned before, there's people that do more than I do. They're just probably not going to sit down and share it with you. All right, but I've done my thing in real estate, 25 years, over 1,000 transactions, and people ask me sometimes, what other things have helped? And one of them is what I call the push to the next level. I don't know why it is, but I'm able to work really, really hard sometimes, and maybe you feel that way as well. I think you just need to be motivated, and you need to know what you want. That's why I asked you early, figure out what it is you want out of this big boom and bust, because it's there for you. You just need to know what it is so you could focus on it, and then you need to know how to do these things, all the different techniques in order to achieve those goals. And one of the things I've done over the years, from time to time, it seems to work in every endeavor, no matter if it was when I was in the Air Force and I needed to push to a next level, education-wise or whatever, or whether it was in real estate. It just seems like once in a while it's time to push hard. And that push hard is easier to do if you know what you're trying to go after, and you know what you're going to do, and you know how long you need to push. In other words, it's not permanent. It's hard to be motivated to work hard all the time not knowing when the end is, right? But what I would do is do 30 or 60 or 90-day push to the next level. It's like taking an airplane off the ground. You have to go full throttle for a while in order to get that airplane off the ground. But once you level off at an altitude, you can't leave the throttles wide open like they were to get off the ground. You're going to burn it up if you do that. You're going to burn yourself out if you were to go full throttle continuously for too long. So if you know that you're just trying to push those throttles up to get to the next level, even the airplane after it's level for a while at an altitude, you might decide, I want to go to the next level. And you got to push the throttles up, point the nose up, drive hard for a while, get up there, and then put the throttle back to cruise or a speed or a setting that won't burn it up. It'll just keep it at that level. So life is the same way. And people talk about having balance in their life, and I think that that's important. But I've also noticed, for me anyways, never underestimate the importance of going out of balance once in a while to get to the next level. When I was young, we would just have a little family meeting and say, what, Dad's going to push hard for a while. So if you have any events at school or you have something going on family-wise, you need to make sure we know when that is, because I'm going to work a bunch and I'm going to push us to the next level. You see, it's planned. It's not out of control. It's not the skiers coming down the mountain completely out of control. It's the guy who skis smooth and nice once in a while. He gets to go fast. He does it when he can't hurt anybody, but he doesn't go that way all the time. Maybe you can think of other endeavors that are the same way. It's important once in a while to push hard. So that's what I would do, and I'd set it up for a 30, a 60, a 90-day period. Perhaps you'd even have some fun stuff you would do when that's over. Reward yourself for whatever that is. In my early days, it was maybe a cruise. We'd go push hard for a while, work hard, but when we make these goals, we're going to go on a cruise, and we're going to go back down, and we're just going to cruise at that level for a while before we push to the next one. So I think it should be planned out. Family stuff should be blocked off and not missed. It's not worth it if you miss all that. You're going to set a plan of action. What needs to be done in order to get to where you want to go. If you're using it for the video example here, maybe you're going to watch 3 or 4 videos every single day, even if you're busy. Maybe you're going to push hard on the weekends and you're going to really study this stuff. Then you're going to do the homework, you're going to get out in the field, you're going to learn your market, and you're just going to push. Maybe that's your first month. Your second month, you're going to do some more of that, but then now you're maybe ready to make some offers. Or maybe that's, say, for month 3. But you're going to break this thing down, and you're going to do something every day that's making you go towards your goal, which seems like a big goal broken down into daily tasks, so that you know what you need to do daily, weekly, monthly, in order to get to where you're trying to go. All right? So you're going to set that all up, what needs to be done, and then you're going to do what I call take massive action. You know, massive action in a business like this is so fun because when you take massive action, let's say in your example, you focused in on REOs, for example, or you focused in on short sales, whatever you think is going to be working for your area. You've done a little testing, you've done a little contacts with agents or whatever you're doing in that area. You're ready to do it. Maybe you know that you're going to need to make 100 offers or 50 offers or whatever it is that you need to do, hoping for that one. You're going to take massive action. When you take massive action in a big ticket item like real estate, if you get any results at all, you've done well. In other words, if you got one transaction out of that and it was a buy-sell and you made $25,000 profit on it, that was worth taking the massive action. But what sometimes is overlooked is you also got paid in education. You pushed hard, you broke it down, you watched the videos, you did the homework, you made the offers. Yes, you got one transaction, but you also improved your knowledge level throughout that process. You learned a lot. So even if you got nothing, you would have gotten something out of that push. But in this example, let's say you got that one transaction. That's just going to take you further, all right? Now you've got something to work on. You've got a track record. It's going to allow you to attract more money if you need money folks to help you, right? You're starting to develop that track record. So you've pushed hard, you got your deal. You might think about that transaction, maybe take a little break, and then plan another push. Maybe it's in another area, another technique, but you're going to start knocking these deals out that way. So you want to go ahead and take that massive action. When I was writing this outline, I remember thinking the same thing on when I did the non-owner OC program. The way we did it was a lot of work, you know, because what you might remember from the video, we used first-class stamps. You know, we weren't bulk mailers. But bottom line is, I looked at that as we took massive action. We made a lot of contacts. Remember, in this business, if you're going to make a lot of contracts, you got to make a lot of contacts. Whether it's in person, on the phone, or by mail, you know, variation of those techniques is going to help you. And I remember thinking on the massive action, we might decide, you know, we really need a deal right away. We want to put another one in the pipe, so to speak. We might do 1,500 non-owner occupied mailers, and I estimated that would cost about $1,000, $950 to $1,000, and probably take 30 man hours. You know, my two sons working on the getting those labels printed up, or hand addressing some, or a combination thereof, getting those letters printed. We actually hand signed every letter. You know, it didn't look like a bulk thing. Remember, that was our technique. I may have mentioned in that video, I think bulk is fine as well. You just do more of it, right? You can do more of it for the same cost. But we had a technique that we liked that seemed to work. It got us 45 transactions after all, just in that one time period. But I looked at it as massive action. We do 1,500 mailers and we generate 25 phone calls, and one person says, yes, I want to take your cash and run. Then that massive action, that 30 hours of manpower and that $1,000 of cost and the time required to get it done was so worth it. If that one transaction in those days, my average profit was probably $40,000. So I took the massive action knowing that if I got one deal out of it, it was worth it, right? Now what typically happened is you got your one deal, maybe you got two, it was really great. But I also knew there's 1,500 people that now have our letter. Many of those people would slide it into their property folder because it wasn't time to sell for them. But I now know that there's 1,500 people out there with that letter, you know, minus the 25 that I already spoke to. Still a lot of people, 1,475 people that didn't call. Of those, probably half of them at least, we'll never know, but I would imagine a lot of them are going to save that letter for when it's time. And I know that because I get calls sometimes 2 years after they've gotten the letter. So I know that they tend to save them and they tend to call you back. So the massive action pays in a lot of different ways. In your case, it's going to pay in education and lessons. It's going to pay if you get yourself a transaction, and it could pay in future transactions. It's really awesome. So once in a while, I believe it's okay to go out of balance, as long as you're not running your life out of balance, right? You sit down and block the time. I think you'd be amazed at what you can get done per week if you had blocks of time that were set aside only for this business. 2 hours there, 3 hours maybe on the weekend. You'd be surprised what you can get done with that. So you sit down, figure out your next 60-day drive or your 90-day drive or even a 30-day drive, and figure out what can you get done in that time period, what's going to take you closer to becoming an expert, closer to the next transaction, and then just do it. All right? Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next video.